Welcome, anatomy students, for the giant brain model. This is one side of the giant brain, and this is the other side. And I would like to go over on the structures that you have to know for the exam. I will move it a little bit down so you will be able to see it. Let's start with the brain. It's pretty much like the small brain. This is the two hemispheres. I do not want to push it together because it's so hard to separate. Actually, let's do it in here. So this is, oops. We have the central sulcus that separates the pre-central gyrus from the post-central gyrus. We have the primary motor cortex here and the primary somatosensory cortex here as the deep purple one. We distinguish the frontal lobe. Wherever is the cerebellum is the posterior. We have the temporal lobe, the yellow color. We have the parietal one, the light blue, and the occipital is the green. We have the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, so separating them. I try to show the left hemisphere for you. The structure. We have this is also the pre-central gyrus and the post-central gyrus. The central sulcus comes from here, separating the pre and the post-central gyrus. We have the cingulate gyrus, that is superior or outward of the corpus callosum. Inferior to the corpus callosum is the fornix. We have the thalamus. This is the thalamus. Oh, I should just show it this way. The thalamus. The pineal body is at the posterior part. This area is the pineal body. The fourth ventricle happens anterior to the cerebellum area. The arbor vitae, you cannot really see on here the white matter embedded in the gray area in the cerebellum. You can see it way better on the small brain model. We have the pons, that's the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata, and after comes the brain, the spinal cord, the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata makes up these three, the brain stem. The mammillary bodies are the here is the mammillary bodies. Anterior to it, and I will be able to show it on here. This is the hypophyseal gland, the pituitary gland. We have additional gyrus. The straight gyrus is here on the inferior part of the frontal lobe. We have the fusiform gyrus. The fusiform gyrus is on the temporal lobe. I tried to disassemble the right hemisphere a little bit, take this internal part out. So the fusiform gyrus is this area in here on the temporal lobe in the inferior part. We can see the corpus callosum part on the side, on the mid-sagittal area, and we have the fibers of the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum connects the left and the right hemisphere all together, full of axons moving from one side to another. This would be the left, no, not, what is that, the lateral ventricle, anterior horn, and the posterior horn goes at the back. So that is part of the lateral ventricle. And we have I tried to put this in here like this. And the third ventricle is here. And we have the spinal fluid, the aqueduct, the spinal fluid aqueduct, and that is the fourth ventricle in here. And I guess that's what you need to know on the big brain model. Hopefully it was helpful.